Princess Sileria stood at the viewing window of the royal ship, watching the stars blur past. Her blue skin glowed softly in the dim light, and her silver eyes reflected the streaks of passing stars. Today was the most important day of her 200 years of life. Today, her people would meet humans for the first time. "Your Highness, we approach the meeting point," said Captain Draz with a bow. "The human ship will arrive in 30 minutes. Sileria nodded. "Thank you, Captain. Are all preparations complete?" "Yes, Princess. The meeting room is ready, and your advisors wait for you there." Sileria took a deep breath. As third daughter of Emperor Zoltan, ruler of the Cetarian Empire, she had been trained since birth for diplomacy. But meeting an entirely new species was different. Humans had only recently discovered faster-than-light travel. They were new to the galaxy. Many Cetarians thought humans were primitive and should be conquered, not welcomed as equals. Her father's warning played in her mind again. "Remember, daughter, these humans are primitive but potentially dangerous. Show them our superiority without provoking them." She smoothed her royal blue robes and walked to the meeting room. Minister Vroon, her chief advisor, greeted her with a worried look. "Princess, the reports about humans are concerning. They are emotional, unpredictable, and their history is full of wars. We must be careful." "I understand, Minister, but we will judge them ourselves, not just by reports," Sileria replied. Commander Alan Grant stood in front of the mirror in his quarters aboard the U.S. Horizon. He straightened his uniform one last time. His brown hair was neatly combed, and his blue eyes looked sharp and alert despite his lack of sleep. Meeting aliens, real, intelligent aliens, was not something he had imagined doing when he joined Space Force 10 years ago. There was a knock at his door. "Enter," Alan called. Jack Peterson and Lisa Monroe walked in, both wearing their formal Space Force uniforms. "The alien ship is approaching, Commander," said Lisa. Her face showed both excitement and worry. "Command wants us on the bridge now." Jack looked nervous. "Do you think they'll be friendly?" "The Cetarians?" Alan wished he knew the answer. "That's what we're here to find out. Our job is to represent humanity and build peaceful relations with them." He checked his watch. "Let's get to the bridge." The two ships faced each other in the empty space near Jupiter. The Cetarian vessel was huge and elegant, shaped like a crescent moon with glowing blue lights. The human ship was smaller, more practical in design. On the bridge of the U.S. Horizon, everyone watched the screens nervously. "They're hailing us, Commander," said the communications officer. "Put them through," Alan replied, straightening his back. The screen flickered, and suddenly they were looking at blue-skinned beings with large silver eyes. In the center stood a female figure whose robes and jewelry marked her as important. "Greetings, humans of Earth." She spoke in perfect English. "I am Princess Sileria of the Cetarian Empire. On behalf of my father, Emperor Zoltan, I welcome you to the galactic community." Alan stepped forward. "Princess Sileria, I am Commander Alan Grant of Earth's Space Force. We are honored to meet you and your people. We come in peace and friendship." "We will dock our ships for the formal meeting in 1 hour," Sileria said. "I look forward to speaking with you in person, Commander." When the call ended, Alan turned to his team. "Well, that went better than expected." He tried to sound confident, but inside, his stomach was in knots. The fate of Earth might depend on how well this meeting went. 1 hour later, Alan, Jack, and Lisa stood in the space station's meeting room. The door opened, and the Cetarian delegation entered. Princess Sileria was even more striking in person. Her blue skin had a subtle shimmer, and her movements were graceful. But when her silver eyes met Alan's, something unexpected happened. Her cheeks suddenly turned purple. Minister Vroon gasped softly. In Cetarian culture, such a visible reaction, their version of blushing, was considered highly inappropriate, especially for royalty. Alan, not understanding what had happened, smiled and stepped forward to greet her. "Welcome, Princess. We're glad to meet face to face at last. Sileria struggled to regain her composure. No one had warned her about the strange effect humans might have on her. "The pleasure is mine, Commander," she managed to say. But in her mind, she wondered what this unexpected reaction might mean for the future of their species' relations. The meeting room fell silent. Princess Sileria tried to focus on the diplomatic talks, but found it difficult to look directly at Commander Alan Grant. Every time their eyes met, she felt that strange warmth rise to her cheeks again. Minister Vroom stepped forward, clearly trying to take control of the situation. "We have prepared a report on your species based on your broadcasts and signals we have collected," he said, his tone cold and formal. "Humans are quite primitive compared to the Cetarian Empire." Jack Peterson frowned at this. "Primitive? We've developed faster than light travel independently. After thousands of years of warfare and environmental damage," Vroom replied. "The Cetarian Empire has existed in peace for over 10,000 years. Elan raised his hand calmly. "We have much to learn from each other. That's why we're here, isn't it?" Sileria nodded, grateful for his diplomacy. "Yes, Commander. Exchange of knowledge is the foundation of any good relationship between civilizations. Perhaps we could start by learning about each other's cultures and achievements," Lisa suggested. She pulled out a small device and placed it on the table. "We've prepared a summary of human history, art, science, and cultures." Vroom looked at the device with disdain. "Our scientists have already studied your species extensively. We know that humans are emotional, often irrational, and prone to conflict." The human delegation tensed at these words. Alan's friendly expression hardened slightly, but he maintained his composure. "Minister," Sileria interrupted, "perhaps you could bring us refreshments while I review the humans' offering." It was clearly a dismissal, and Vroom looked shocked. "But Your Highness, protocol states." "Thank you, Minister," she said firmly. After a moment of hesitation, Vroom bowed and left the room. "I apologize for my advisor," Sileria said once the door closed. "Some of my people have preconceptions about new species." Elan nodded. "No offense taken, Princess. First meetings are always challenging." As they began to review the information exchange, Alan noticed how different Sileria was from her advisor. She asked thoughtful questions about Earth and showed genuine interest in human achievements. Her silver eyes lit up when Lisa showed her images of Earth's oceans and forests. "Your planet has so much water," she said in wonder. "Ours is mostly desert with small seas." While they talked, a group of Cetarian guards entered with refreshments. One of them whispered something to Sileria that made her frown. "Is everything all right?" Elan asked. "Yes," she said, but her tone had changed. "My father wishes for an update on our meeting." Lisa noticed that the Cetarian guards were studying the human delegation closely, almost as if they were assessing threats or weaknesses. Jack whispered to Alan, "I come like this. They're sizing us up." Elan nodded slightly, but kept his focus on the princess. "Perhaps we could discuss a cultural exchange program. A few representatives from each side spending time with the other to learn firsthand about our civilizations." Before Sileria could answer, Minister Vroom returned with another Cetarian official. "The Emperor has ordered us to complete our assessment quickly. There is no need for extended contact." "With respect, Minister," Sileria said, as the appointed diplomatic representative, "I believe a cultural exchange would be valuable." Her voice was firm, surprising even herself with her boldness. The tension in the room grew. The humans exchanged glances, sensing the power struggle happening within the Cetarian delegation. "Perhaps the princess is right," Alan said carefully. "True understanding comes from direct experience, not just reports and data." Sileria looked at him gratefully, her cheeks turning slightly purple again. "Exactly, Commander. I volunteer to be the first exchange representative from our side." Vroom's eyes widened in alarm. "Your Highness, that is completely inappropriate. Your father would never." "My father appointed me to lead this diplomatic mission," she interrupted. I will inform him of my decision. Elen watched this exchange with growing interest. It was clear that there were different factions among the Cetarians, and for some reason, Princess Styleria seemed to be on humanity's side. We would be honored to host you aboard the U.S. Horizon, Alan said, and perhaps one of our team could visit your vessel. I volunteer, Lisa said quickly. As they worked out the details, Styleria couldn't help but wonder what her father would say about her decision. And why did this human commander make her feel so different? Princess Styleria stepped onto the U.S. Horizon, trying to hide her excitement. This was her first time on a human ship. 2 Cetarian guards followed her, looking nervous and alert. Welcome aboard, Alan said with a warm smile. I'll be your guide during your stay with us. Styleria nodded politely, very aware of her guards watching her every move. Thank you, Commander. I look forward to learning about humans firsthand. Alan gave her a tour of the ship. The Cetarian guards followed closely, their hands never far from their weapons. Styleria found the human ship fascinating. It was smaller than Cetarian vessels, but cleverly designed. The crew they passed looked at her with curiosity but were respectful. This is our garden section, Alan explained as they entered a room filled with plants. We grow some fresh food here, but it's also a place for the crew to relax. Styleria touched a red flower gently. We have nothing like this on our ships. It's beautiful. That's a rose, Alan said. On Earth, they symbolize many things, including friendship between nations. Meanwhile, on the Cetarian royal vessel, Lisa Monroe was having a very different experience. Her tour felt more like a closely guarded inspection. She was not allowed to enter many areas, and her Cetarian guides barely answered her questions. During a moment alone in her guest quarters, Lisa noticed her door didn't fully lock. Curious, she slipped out and walked quietly down a hallway. She heard voices from a room ahead and stopped to listen. The Emperor's orders are clear, the voice said. It was Minister Vroon. We are to assess human weaknesses while the princess keeps them distracted with this cultural exchange nonsense. What about the princess? Another voice asked. She seems interested in these humans. The Emperor will deal with his daughter's strange behavior, Vroon replied. Our mission is to prepare for the arrival of the Imperial fleet. Earth will make an excellent addition to the Empire. Lisa's heart raced. She needed to warn Alan, but how? She was being watched constantly. As she heard footsteps approaching, she quickly retreated to her quarters. Back on the U.S. Horizon, Alan took Styleria to the ship's cafeteria. The Cetarian guards insisted on testing all food before allowing the princess to eat anything. This is sweet, Styleria said, tasting ice cream for the first time. Her silver eyes widened in surprise and delight. We have nothing like this at home. Alan smiled at her reaction. It's called ice cream. It's a favorite treat on Earth. I can see why, she said, taking another bite. For a moment, she forgot she was a royal princess on a diplomatic mission. She was simply enjoying a new experience. Later that evening, after returning Styleria to her guest quarters, Alan received an encrypted message from Lisa. It was brief but alarming. Cetarians planning invasion. Imperial fleet coming. Evidence in Royal Archives. Alan stared at the message for a long time. Could it be true? Was this entire diplomatic mission just a distraction? And what about Princess Styleria? Was she part of the deception? He thought about her genuine delight at simple things like flowers and ice cream, the way she stood up to her advisors to arrange this exchange, the strange purple blush whenever their eyes met. Was it all an act? In her quarters, Styleria sat alone, thinking about her day with Alan. Humans were nothing like what she had been taught. They were creative, kind, and passionate about life in a way Cetarians were not. For the first time, she questioned her father's policies about lesser species. A chime sounded, indicating a private royal communication. Styleria activated the screen to see her father's stern face. Daughter, Emperor Zoltan said coldly, I hear you are enjoying your time with the humans. Do not forget your purpose or your loyalty to the Empire. The fleet will arrive soon, and Earth's fate is already decided." As the screen went dark, Sileria felt her world crumbling around her. What was her father planning? And what would she do now? Alan couldn't sleep that night. Lisa's warning played over and over in his mind. If the Cetarians were planning an invasion, every moment counted. But he needed more information before raising an alarm that could damage relations forever. He decided to talk to Sileria directly. If she was part of the deception, he might see it in her reaction. He sent her a message requesting a private meeting in his office. When Sileria arrived, her guards insisted on remaining, but she ordered them to wait outside. "Commander Grant deserves our trust," she said firmly. The guards looked unhappy but obeyed. Once they were alone, Alan noticed that Sileria seemed troubled. Her silver eyes looked sad, and her usual regal posture was slightly bent, as if carrying a heavy weight. "Princess, I need to ask you something important." Alan began carefully. "What is the real purpose of this diplomatic mission?" Sileria looked surprised by his directness. "To establish peaceful relations between our peoples, of course." Alan took a deep breath and decided to take a risk. "We have information suggesting the Cetarian Empire is planning to invade Earth." The color drained from Sileria's face, turning her blue skin almost pale. "Where did you hear this?" she whispered. "Is it true?" Alan pressed. Sileria sat down heavily in a chair. I didn't know. Not until last night when my father contacted me." She looked up at Alan, her eyes shining with what appeared to be tears. "You must believe me. I was not part of this deception." Alan studied her face. Either she was telling the truth or she was an incredible actor. His instincts told him to trust her. "What exactly did your father say?" "He mentioned a fleet coming soon. He said Earth's fate was already decided." Sileria's voice shook slightly. "The Cetarian Empire has a history of expanding by conquering worlds we consider less advanced. And you? Do you consider us less advanced?" Alan asked quietly. "I did before I met you," she admitted. "We are taught that other species are beneath us, but what I've seen here," she gestured around her, "humans are different. You feel things deeply. You create beautiful things. You care about each other in ways my people have forgotten." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call. Jack appeared on the screen, his face tense. "Commander, our long-range scanners have detected multiple ships entering the solar system. They're Cetarian, and they're not responding to our hails." Alan's heart sank. "How long until they reach Earth?" "At their current speed, less than 24 hours. After Jack signed off, Alan turned to Sileria. "Your Imperial fleet." She nodded, looking devastated. "I'm so sorry, Alan. I didn't know this would happen." "What will they do when they arrive?" "They will demand Earth's surrender," she said softly. "Those who resist will be eliminated." Alan's mind raced through options. Earth's defenses were no match for an advanced alien fleet. "We need to warn Earth. Prepare what defenses we have." "It won't be enough," Sileria said, standing suddenly. "But I might be able to help." "How?" "I have access codes to the Imperial network. I can give you information about our shield technology, weapon systems, battle strategies." Her voice was firm now, her decision made. Alan stared at her in shock. "You would betray your own people." "I would prevent an injustice," she corrected him. "My people are wrong about humans. This invasion is wrong." Her cheeks flushed purple as she added, "And I cannot bear the thought of your world being destroyed." Before Alan could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. A voice came over the intercom system. "All personnel to battle stations. Cetarian Imperial vessel approaching." This is not a drill. Sileria's guards burst into the room, weapons drawn. "Princess, we must return to our ship immediately. By order of Emperor Zoltan." Sileria looked at Alan, fear and determination in her eyes. time had run out. "I need more time," Silaria said to her guards. "Tell the captain I will return shortly." The guards looked uncertain. "Princess," the Emperor was clear. "I am still your princess," she said, her voice suddenly hard with authority. "Wait outside." After a moment of hesitation, they bowed and left the room. "We don't have much time," Silaria said, turning to Ellen. She pulled a small crystal from her robe. "This contains access codes to our systems and information about our technology. It's not much, but it might help your people." Ellen took the crystal. "Thank you. But what about you? If your father discovers what you've done, he will declare me a traitor," she finished. "I know." The ship shook suddenly. On the screens, they could see a large Cetarian ship had docked alongside the U.S. horizon. "We need to get this information to Earth now," Alan said, inserting the crystal into a computer terminal. "Jack, Lisa, meet me in the communication center." As they hurried through the corridors, crew members ran past them to their stations. The ship was on high alert. "What will happen to you?" Alan asked Auxilaria as they walked. "I don't know," she admitted, "but I cannot stand by and watch my father destroy your world." In the communication center, they found Jack and Lisa already working at the terminals. "The Imperial ship is demanding we hand over the princess," Jack reported. "And there's more bad news. We've lost contact with Earth's defense fleet. Something is jamming our signals." Lisa looked up from her screen. "The Cetarian tech is far beyond ours. Based on what I saw on their ship, they could take out our defenses in minutes." "Maybe not," Silaria said. She stepped forward and began typing rapidly on a terminal. "The access codes I gave you can break through their communication jamming, and I know the weaknesses in our shield designs." The screen flickered, then stabilized, showing a secure connection to Earth's defense headquarters. Alan quickly explained the situation to the stunned Earth officials. "Princess Valeria is helping us. She's providing critical information about Cetarian technology." "Sending tactical data now," Silaria said, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "Focus your weapons on these coordinates on their ships. It's where the shield generators are weakest." Suddenly, the door slid open. Minister Vroon stood there with 4 armed Cetarian guards. "Step away from that terminal, Princess," Vroon ordered. "You have betrayed your people and your father." Silaria straightened her back, but continued typing. "I am saving lives, Minister. This invasion is wrong." "Guards, take the princess," Vroon commanded. Alan and Jack moved to stand between Silaria and the guards. "She's under our protection now," Alan said firmly. Vroon sneered. "You would risk war to protect one traitor. To protect a brave woman who stands for what's right." "Yes," Alan replied without hesitation. The standoff was interrupted by a blaring message over the ship's system. "Attention all personnel. Multiple Cetarian warships have entered Earth orbit. Repeat, multiple Cetarian warships in Earth orbit." Silaria's face paled. "We're out of time." She looked at Vroon. "Minister, tell my father I wish to address the fleet. As his daughter, I have that right." "You have no rights anymore," Vroon said coldly. "Emperor Zoltan has disowned you. You are no longer a princess of the Cetarian Empire." The news hit Stellaria hard, but she didn't falter. "Then I speak not as a princess, but as someone who has seen the truth about humans. They deserve to be free." Elen placed his hand on her shoulder. "We'll find another way." "There is one option left," Silaria said quietly. "The Imperial fleet follows a strict chain of command. If I can reach my father's ship and confront him directly." "That's suicide," Lisa protested. "Maybe," Silaria acknowledged, "but some of our captains respect me. If they see me stand against my father, they might hesitate to attack." Alan shook his head. "It's too dangerous. We'll find another solution." Silaria placed her hand over his. "There is no time, Alan. This is the only way I can help now." Their eyes met, and for a moment, Everything else seemed to fade away. The fate of Earth hung in the balance. Alarms blared throughout the U.S. horizon as reports came in of Cetarian ships surrounding Earth. The crew rushed to battle stations, preparing for a fight they knew they could not win. "I need to get to my father's ship," Sileria insisted. "It's our only chance." Alan looked at her, concern in his eyes. "I won't let you go alone." "This isn't your fight," she said. "It became my fight when they threatened my planet," Alan replied firmly. "Besides, you'll need help getting past their security." Jack stepped forward. "I can create a distraction on our ship, draw their attention away from you two. And I'll coordinate with Earth's defense forces," Lisa added. "The information Sileria gave us might just give us a fighting chance." Minister Vroon watched this exchange with growing disgust. "You're all fools. The Empire has conquered hundreds of worlds. Earth will fall like all the others." Sileria turned to him. "That's where you're wrong, Minister. Humans are different. They don't give up." She nodded to the guards. "Take him to the brig." As the guards led Vroon away, Sileria faced Alan. "We need to use my royal shuttle. It has clearance codes that will get us onto my father's flagship." Within minutes, they were aboard the small Cetarian vessel, racing toward the massive Imperial flagship that loomed over Earth. Behind them, the U.S. horizon engaged several smaller Cetarian ships, drawing their attention as planned. "We're approaching the main hangar," Sileria said, her hands moving quickly over the controls. "I'm transmitting my royal codes now." To Alan's surprise, the hangar doors opened. "They're letting us in, even though your father disowned you." "The fleet may not know that yet," she explained. "And some captains are loyal to me, not just to my father." As they landed in the hangar, they could see chaos unfolding around them. On the view screens, Earth's small fleet was engaging the Cetarian ships, targeting the weak points in their shields that Sileria had revealed. "It's working," Alan said, watching as a Cetarian warship's shields failed. "Earth's forces are actually damaging their ships." "But it won't be enough," Sileria warned. "We need to stop my father." They exited the shuttle, Sileria still in her royal robes, Alan in his Space Force uniform. Several Cetarian guards approached them, looking confused at the princess's return with a human. "Stand aside," Sileria commanded. "I must speak with the Emperor immediately." The senior guard hesitated. "Princess, we received orders that you are no longer to be obeyed. Do you serve the Empire or just its ruler?" she challenged. "I am trying to prevent a terrible mistake." The guards looked at each other uncertainly. Finally, the senior guard nodded. "We will escort you to the bridge, but we must secure the humans' weapons." Ellen reluctantly handed over his sidearm, and they were led through the massive flagship toward the bridge. Along the way, they passed viewports showing the battle raging around Earth. "Some of our ships are holding back," Sileria noted with hope. "Not all captains are following the attack orders." When they reached the bridge, Emperor Zoltan turned from his command chair, his silver eyes cold with anger. He was taller than Sileria, with darker blue skin and elaborate royal markings on his face. "So the traitor returns," he said, his voice echoing through the silent bridge, "and brings a human pet." Sileria stepped forward, her head held high. "Father, you must stop this attack. Humans deserve to be free, to join the galactic community as equals, not subjects." "Equals?" Zoltan laughed harshly. "They are centuries behind us in technology. They are divided, emotional, and weak." "Their emotions are their strength," Sileria argued. "Their diversity brings creativity and resilience." "I've seen it." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "You have been corrupted by these creatures." He looked at Alan with contempt. "This one especially." Alan met his gaze without flinching. "Your daughter sees the truth that you're blind to, Your Majesty. Earth will not surrender, no matter the cost." "Then Earth will burn," Zoltan declared, turning to his weapons officer. "Target their major cities. Show them the price of defiance." "No," Sileria cried, rushing forward. In that moment, the ship rocked violently as something struck its shields. The bridge of the Imperial flagship shook again. Alarms blared as officers rushed to their stations. "Report," Emperor Zoltan demanded. "Multiple ships are firing on us, Emperor," a shocked officer replied. "They're our own vessels." On the main screen, they could see several Cetarian warships had turned their weapons on the flagship. The officer continued, "We're receiving transmissions from Captain Nexer and others. They say they stand with Princess Sileria." Zoltan's face darkened with rage. "Traitors, all of them." Sileria stepped forward. "They're not traitors, Father. They've seen what I've seen, that your way is wrong. The old empire is dying because we stopped growing, stopped learning from others." Another blast rocked the ship. The weapons officer called out, "Shield generators are failing. Human vessels are targeting the exact points of weakness." Alan couldn't help but smile. Lisa and Jack had spread Sileria's information effectively. Emperor Zoltan looked around at his crumbling empire. Half his fleet was in open rebellion, and Earth's forces were causing real damage to his ships. His face showed disbelief. How? How are these primitive humans defeating us?" "Because they fight for their freedom," Sileria said softly, "and because some of us fight with them." Zoltan turned to his daughter, seeing her clearly for perhaps the first time. "You really believe in them, don't you?" "I believe in what we could learn from each other," she replied. "Father, end this now, before more lives are lost." For a long moment, Emperor Zoltan stood silent. Then, slowly, he nodded to his communications officer. "Send the stand-down order to all ships. The attack on Earth is over." A cheer erupted from the Earth Defense Forces when they received the news. The battle had been won, not just by weapons, but by understanding and courage. 3 months later, Sileria stood on a stage at the United Nations in New York. She wore a beautiful blend of Cetarian royal robes and Earth fashion, symbolizing the new relationship between their peoples. "Today marks a new chapter for both our civilizations," she said to the assembled world leaders. "The Cetarian Empire is changing. We no longer seek to conquer but to connect, to learn and grow together with other species." In the audience, Alan watched her with pride. After the battle, Sileria had been appointed as the first Cetarian ambassador to Earth. Her actions had inspired a reform movement across the empire, challenging centuries of expansion through conquest. After the ceremony, Alan found Sileria standing alone in the UN garden, watching her first Earth sunset. The orange and pink light made her blue skin glow beautifully. "Is Earth's beauty still surprising to you?" Alan asked as he approached. She turned to him with a smile. "Every day brings new wonders here." "The diplomatic team is hosting a celebration tonight," he said. "Would you like to attend?" "As my date?" Sileria's cheeks turned that now familiar purple. "Date," she repeated, still getting used to the human concept. "Yes, I would like that very much." As they walked together through the garden, Alan asked, "Do you ever regret your choice, standing against your father and your people's traditions?" Sileria shook her head. "How could I regret finding the truth? Besides," she added with a smile, "it led me here." Above them, the first stars appeared in the darkening sky. Among them was a bright point of light, the Cetarian Imperial Fleet, now a peaceful presence in Earth orbit. Already, human scientists were working with Cetarian engineers on joint projects. Earth schools were teaching about Cetarian culture, and Cetarian universities were studying human art and music. "What happens next?" Alan asked, taking her hand. "I don't know," Sileria admitted. "Our peoples have never traveled this path before." "But," she added, turning to face him, her silver eyes shining in the twilight, "I'm glad we'll discover it together." As Alan looked into her eyes, he realized that the greatest adventure wasn't space travel or alien contact. It was connection, finding understanding across the gulf of different worlds, different biologies, different histories, and sometimes that connection began with something as simple as a blush.